The people who suffer the most quietly are often the ones with the kindest hearts. And sometimes, when the whole world ignores them, they still choose to help others. But what if one small act of kindness became the moment that changed everything? In a cold little village surrounded by dry fields and dusty roads, there lived a poor orphan boy in an old mud house at the edge of town. The roof leaked during rain. The walls were cracked. And at night, the wind entered through broken windows like a silent ghost. He had no parents. No brothers. No sisters. No one waiting for him at home. Every morning before sunrise, the orphan boy walked through the village searching for small jobs. Some days he carried heavy water buckets. Some days he cleaned animal sheds. And some days, people simply chased him away like he didn't matter. Still, he never complained loudly. Because deep inside, he carried a quiet faith. Every night before sleeping, he would look at the sky and whisper, "God, I don't need a perfect life. I just want enough strength to survive tomorrow." One afternoon, after hours of hard work under the burning sun, a wealthy shop owner finally paid the orphan boy with a small cloth bag filled with bread and a few vegetables. To others, it looked small. But to him, it was everything. It meant dinner. It meant surviving another day. He held the bag carefully as he walked home through the empty road beside the forest. But suddenly, 3 village boys blocked his path. "Well, look who's here," one of them laughed. The poor orphan finally got food. Before he could react, they snatched the bag from his hands. They threw the bread into the dirt, kicked the vegetables into the bushes, and laughed while walking away. The orphan boy stood frozen. His eyes filled with tears he tried hard to hide. Slowly, he knelt down and picked up the dusty bread with trembling hands. At that moment, something painful broke inside him. Not because of hunger, but because he realized how invisible he was to people. He looked toward the sky and whispered softly, "God, am I truly alone in this world?" The evening grew darker as he continued walking beside the river road. That's when he noticed an old traveler sitting beneath a tree. The man looked weak. His clothes were torn, and his face carried the exhaustion of someone who had walked for days. The old traveler looked up slowly. "Son," he said gently, "do you have something to eat?" The orphan boy stopped walking. For a moment, he looked down at the little food he had managed to save. It was barely enough for himself. His stomach already ached with hunger. But then, he remembered something his mother once told him long ago. Kindness given during pain reaches heaven faster. He swallowed his fear. Then quietly sat beside the old man. He cleaned the dirt off the bread as best as he could, and offered half of it with shaking hands. "Here," he said softly. "It's not much, but you can share it with me." The old traveler stared at him silently, then smiled. Not an ordinary smile. A peaceful smile that somehow made the cold evening feel warm. They ate together beside the river in silence. And strangely, for the first time in many months, the orphan boy didn't feel empty inside. After a while, the old man slowly stood up. "Will you help me walk a little farther?" he asked. The orphan boy nodded. They walked together beneath the quiet trees while the river reflected the golden sunset. Then suddenly, the old traveler stopped. The wind around them became still. The air felt different. Warm. Calm. Almost unreal. The old man turned toward him and said softly, "You have suffered greatly, haven't you?" The orphan boy lowered his eyes. "I try to stay good," he whispered. "But sometimes, it hurts." The traveler stepped closer. "And yet, you still chose kindness." At that moment, A soft golden light slowly surrounded the old man. The orphan boy's heart began pounding. His hands trembled. The tired traveler no longer looked weak. His eyes shined like morning sunlight over water. And his voice became deep and peaceful. "I heard every prayer you whispered alone at night." The orphan boy stepped back in shock. I only spoke to God." The man smiled gently. "And who do you think was listening?" Tears rolled down the orphan boy's face instantly. He fell to his knees. "You were there, all this time." "I never left," the glowing figure answered. "I saw every tear you hid from the world. Every time you were rejected. Every moment you chose goodness instead of hatred." The orphan boy cried harder. "I thought I was forgotten." "No," the voice replied softly. "Heaven never ignores a kind heart." Then the glowing figure touched the small cloth bag lying beside him. Immediately, the bag became heavy. The orphan boy opened it slowly. Inside was fresh bread, warm rice, fruit, clean water. More food than he had seen in months. The glowing figure said, "What is given with love, always returns multiplied." The light slowly faded. The trees became quiet again. And the old traveler was gone. Only the sound of the river remained. The orphan boy stood there holding the full bag against his chest. But something greater than hunger had changed that evening. For the first time in his life, he truly believed he was not alone. Days passed. Then weeks. Slowly, his life began changing. A farmer offered him honest work. An old teacher helped him learn to read. People who once ignored him started seeing something different in him. Not wealth. Not power. But peace. A quiet light inside his heart. And every time life became difficult again, the orphan boy returned to the riverside path where he once shared his last piece of bread with a stranger. Because that was the place where heaven answered him quietly. Maybe this story is also about you. Maybe you feel unseen. Maybe life has been unfair. Maybe you give kindness, and receive pain in return. But never believe your goodness is wasted. Because some blessings arrive silently. Some miracles wear ordinary faces. And sometimes, God comes not as thunder from the sky, but as a tired stranger asking for kindness.